You, but Marco and I have been kind of bonding over Resident Evil a little bit.
Really?
Are you a fan?
Well, not really.
Like of the games? No. Well,
Are they
just
too scary
played,
for you,
I
or
think
what?
No, I played one on the GameCube. Like it was like the one that was on the GameCube, like the big one.
Is that Zero?
Maybe Resident Evil 3.
Well, so Resident Evil 2 and 3 were on the PlayStation, but they went back and remade Resident Evil 1 on the GameCube, and that game still holds up. The graphics, they had pre-rendered backgrounds, and so all the processing power went to like the character models. So if you go back and watch the GameCube remake, it's gorgeous. That game is beautiful.
They basically just ported that for like the PS4 and Xbox 360 versions, right?
You know what? I don't know. They should have by now because they've been remaking Resident Evil since like the fucking dawn of time. But yeah, there's a bunch on the GameCube. I think Resident Evil 0 or Resident Evil Code Veronica. I don't remember. That might have been Dreamcast. There's so many. It's been going on for so long. But
and I think 4 was an exclusive to GameCube as well.
Oh,
right?
that wasn't a game. Yeah,
So maybe that's what Zach
Resident Evil
played.
4 was.
So I guess what's going on with Resident Evil? Is it like a new game or like a
they
movie
just
or a
announced
show?
a new movie today.
Okay.
And they just released the remaster of 4 as well, so it's like it's in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, so Resident Evil Death Island. I literally just saw the trailer right now. It's only several hours old, about 8 hours old. But it's got like all the upgraded character models from like all the new like remakes that they've been doing. So it's kind of cool to see. But our baddie Jill Valentine is back, and that's a beautiful woman. She's like an actual woman. They used for all the new characters. They've like hired models to like be their faces.
A modern.
Yeah, they're real
woman.
people. Yeah. And of course,
What were you going to say, Zach?
Well, I mean, me and Marco, we do a lot of bonding, but it's mostly over like Latina MILF TikToks and like e-girls.
Sure.
Of course.
You know, I mean, it's not like Resident Evil. I mean,
I've got diverse tastes, you know. I'm into a lot of things. But
Bro, honestly, like when he sent me, it was like this past week. He sent me. I guess you're playing Resident Evil 3.
I'm playing 3 because I've owned 3 for a while now. With 4 coming out, I was like, shit, I should probably play that. You know what? You know me.
Is this on the PS5?
This is on PS5, yeah. But I think it's a PS4 version on PS5. I like 3. 3 was like pretty divisive, but I think because it's more action oriented. But I like that about it because it's just like a really fun, like it's really intense. Like my hands are sweating the whole time. But it's a good port or a good remake.
Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 take place at about the same time.
Okay.
They just don't interconnect at all. And then Resident Evil 4 is like years later. I think like 4 or 5 years later or something like that. So Leon's a little older in Resident Evil 4. Not by much. But Resident Evil 4 is very good, so... Yeah,
one of the all-time great video games, right?
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's funny because I was just talking about Leon as like one of the most iconic video game characters around. And it's like...
Zach's face.
Leon Kennedy.
So,
you know what I mean?
Zach's so disinterested in this whole topic. I love it.
Oh, come on.
I don't know what is even happening. Anyways, let's get to it.
Are you an angel?
What?
An angel. I heard the deep space pilots talk about them. They're the most beautiful creatures in the universe.
Hello there. We are tonight's entertainment.
We would be honored if you would join us.
He's got a billion toys.
You brought in the doll collection.
These are not dolls, Jim. These are commodities. Same as gold or oil.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now listening to the Collecting Weekly podcast.
Shall we lock in the artillery power?
This is the true form of floor gang right here. Very nice. YouTube.com/collectingweekly. Thank you very much. That's very cool. Big.
Hey guys, my name is Zach.
I'm Dean.
And I'm Marco.
Welcome to this week's episode of Collecting Weekly. It's a weekly podcast where my friends and I talk about the things that matter the most to us this week in collecting.
That's
How
right.
fucking dare you, Equan?
That's what I was laughing at, too. We want to thank everybody watching at home, catching us live, listening on the replay. Wherever you're checking us out, thank you. Shout you guys out.
Equan's comment reminds me of something that I saw where it was like, imagine what a wolf would feel like knowing that it evolved into a pug. That's how your grandpa feels when you talk to him about anime.
How dare both of you? Yeah, Equan says, now Zach knows what it's like when he talks about Evangelion or whatever. How dare you? We have a great show planned for you guys tonight. A little bit more of an intimate panel, but we're going to have plenty of goofs, gaffs, and laughs tonight. We also have an intimate chat. We got Toy Mafia in the chat. Eddie, Arrow, Maestro, Happy F and Tuesday, Hodor317, Hodor. Universal Key, evening, everyone. 12-inch Moose stream. I bought the N1 today. I know Zach's Wonderland is sold out. Honestly, the worst project that I've ever undertaken. The second one. I don't know why. It's been a pain in my ass. I'm excited to be done with this thing. Pablo Meza, Jason Nelson, KJ Smith, Stephen Craig. Got to see Steven this weekend. It was very nice. We have Knight in the chat. Alvin J, DJ, Mojo Z78, King Dingling, Vintage Rebellion Podcast. Nick's Collectibles, and Stephen Cret. Shout out to Zach for the golden hammies. Yeah, it was nice to see my good friend Steven today. We have a great show planned for you guys tonight. Like I said at the top of the show, a ton of news to talk about. 2 new Hot Toys, lots of different things. But Dean, before we get into any of that news, we have a very special segment that we start off all of our best shows with.
Yeah, you guys ready?
Yes.
It's new this week.
Yeah. What'd you get new this week? So I had a pretty interesting week. I've been wanting like a female knight figure because I play like the Souls games, but I always pick a female character, and they just like don't really make them at all anywhere. So I decided to kit bash one from a Figma and it's called Imperial Guard. It's like a Fison TB League line. And just like smash them together. So I took the armor and the outfit from the TB League figure and I just put it on a Figma body that would accept it. I got the idea from somebody on a Figma group. But I had to buy the Figma first. Because the Imperial Guard you could get on BBTS, it's like $80. And while I was shopping for the Figma, they had another Figma, another character. It's from a show called Fate Zero or Fate Stay Night. It's Arturia Pendragon.
You're saying so many words I don't understand, but keep going.
It's an anime about, they like summon like heroes from across time to fight for them.
Nice.
And it's like Arthur Pendragon, King Arthur, but he was like actually a woman. And she's a fucking badass. But anyway, this figure, she was only like $11 used. So I was like, fuck it, I'll pick it up. Maybe I'll use the parts for it or something. I ended up not using the parts, but then I watched the entire anime over the course of like 2 days. So that was fun. And then I got the NECA War Duke. I didn't order it from NECA. I got it from BBTS because I had it on pre-order.
You know the way. This is the one in the middle here, right?
Yeah, and he is bad.
It looks sick. With me knowing nothing about it, like this is interesting to me.
Yeah, so when D&D got really popular in the 80s, they made like a 3 3/4 inch line, like a G.I. Joe. That's how they made him, like with the fucking rubber band in the middle. And War Duke was one of the first figures that came out. And it was cool as shit back in the day. So this is the new one, and it's fucking awesome. So if you like D&D, I recommend picking it up. It's fucking badass. I love it. So that was my week. How about you guys?
Very good pickups. Yeah, I've been looking at the D&D NECA stuff. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it just yet. But yeah, I'm excited. There's a bunch of cool shit coming out with like what is it, the Four Horsemen stuff? That one Ozal looking character, Samir.
yeah.
Which they will be sued for. yeah, there's some fucking banger shit coming out. Marco, what'd you get this week?
Yeah, so I had a nice little week. This is actually, so my in-art sculpted Joker came in last week, but obviously I wasn't around. So really excited to finally add that. I think that the sculpted version is incredible. Honestly, like I'm really intrigued to see what the rooted version will look like, because sculpted is just terrific. Like zero complaints about it. Just about as close to the prototype as I could have expected. So really blown away by everything when it comes to this release. Even Gigi, when we did a review on the channel, really quick one, she was like, "Oh well, for $500, I don't really see." I was like, "No, actually, it was like $350 shipped." She's like, "Oh, okay, actually, I see. Like this is pretty well priced considering what Hot Toys cost." So really happy about that. And then shout out to my brother Cuervo. I will not call him Equan this time, for hooking me up with my first 9.8 here. So this is a Jim Lee cover, and I guess it is a key as well. It's a first appearance of a villain. And really, excited to actually have a 9.8 in hand. I haven't figured out how to open it just yet, but once I do, then...
Wow,
that's hilarious, dude.
I told that to Cuervo. Wow. He's like, "I will beat your ass if you open it." But
is this your first slab?
Yeah, first ever.
Oh, okay. How do you like it? Like
it's really nice. Like it's like very girthy and it's just like substantial, I guess is the best way to put it. Yeah. It was like just a really cool premium experience. So incredibly generous, of Cuervo to do it. And I'm kind of hooked now. I kind of want to see what else is out there, but I don't think I can go down that line. It's too pricey for me.
Well, I'm proud of you. I'm definitely proud of you. They also display really nicely. You can get like frames where they kind of like sit really flush to the wall, and so like in your space, like if you don't have a lot of like shelving space to put them in, you can just put them on the wall, and they display really nicely.
Yeah. I've seen you do that, and I might have to do the same. What were we gonna say, Dean?
Well, if you pre-order them, buying slabs is not very expensive, like $60-$70 maybe.
Oh, really? Okay.
If it's really new and you get really lucky, I've gotten slabs for under 60 on eBay because people are just trying to get rid of them because, they order a bunch and then they don't sell and they freak out and start taking like stupid offers. Yeah. And then eventually the book gets very expensive later. Yeah. But yeah.
And then you realize you bought from a certain retailer that might have shots that are hot, and then you never get your book.
Yeah, you were swindled.
Yeah, I always just go like that newest Punchline and Catwoman book I bought. Mm-hmm. I could not find a pre-order for that book to save my life, and then one day I was just like, let me check eBay, and it was on there for like, I think I got it for like 65 shipped, which is like less than it would cost me to buy the book and have it sent. And then I might not have gotten a 9.8. You know what I mean? So like if you get them like super new or pre-order them, it's really not that expensive.
There you go. But to me, so if you get 4 slabs, right? Let's say you spend $60 a pop, that's a Hot Toys right there. So for me, it's like, all right, is it worth that trade-off? I don't know that I necessarily love it that much just yet, but it's really cool and was really excited to have my first one.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, Marco. I'm definitely proud of you. So I had, I think this was actually my first experience with Sideshow Seconds. Went pretty good. I didn't quite know what to expect. Didn't know if I was going to be getting a returned item or just a damaged box item. Obviously, my experiences may vary from yours, but the item that I had was still sealed in the packaging. It just had like a big chunk taken out of the front of the box, like on the art box. Came super quick. Victoria helped me pick this one up, and it's
never brag about that.
About what? Victoria helped me buy something?
Coming too quick.
Oh yeah, I come quick all the time. So this is the premium format symbiote Spider-Man by Sideshow.
How big is this like in comparison to a human? Because this right picture makes it look freaking massive.
The statue itself, it's like 2 feet tall, but the Spider-Man's obviously he's hunched over. He's probably about from like his right leg, which is lower down on the piece. He's probably about a foot tall.
Would you say is he like a quarter scale? Is that?
Yeah, it's a quarter scale statue. Okay. Yeah, it's a quarter scale statue. So
because it looks like it's like above the windowsill here or the window frame. I was like, God damn, how big is this thing?
So it's on top of the DTOF, like on the wood or whatever.
Okay.
And then I have the Miles Morales next to it on the second DTOF. So nice little premium format spider display. But yeah, this is a friggin' fantastic statue. It's painted really well. The blue shading on the Spider-Man piece is really good, and the texture and like the moss effect that they did on the I guess like little tower top there is also super good. Everything arrived great. I'm gonna give it a once over one more time this weekend because I was kind of just putting it together kind of real quick when I unboxed it, but on quick cursory inspection I think it passes muster, and I like this a lot. Yeah, Cram,
like Cram is saying,
symbiote, Spidey kick. Yeah,
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, you are really obsessed right now, but that's pretty on brand for you. You go full down a character line. Baby.
Hell yeah! I got some comics coming in, some first appearance stuff, so it'll be a nice little display eventually once I get my Miles Morales book. The slab cracked, so I got to get it fixed. But yeah, I'm excited for all that, and yeah, definitely a very positive first Sideshow Seconds experience. I think maybe the only thing I would prefer, which I understand why they can't do, if they did payment plans, and then also if they did coupons. Obviously, you're getting it at like 15% off already, so coupons makes a lot of sense, and they just want to get the stock off the door, so both of those make a lot of sense. But you know, it would have made the purchase a little less stressful because, you know, when an item comes on Seconds, you might have like only one in stock, and so pretty much as soon as I bought this, it was sold out, and had to basically cash in on my birthday gift a bit early. But yeah, let's get into the news. We'll start here just quickly. So tomorrow, we mentioned last show and the show before, the D100 Iron Man was coming to Sideshow. There's going to be 300 of those SKUs, as Marco says, available. And so I encourage anyone that's even remotely interested to sign up for that that lottery system that they're going to do. I know there's some people that are still complaining about that, but I think it's a much better system than throwing it up to a free-for-all where the website's going to crash and people are going to be frustrated.
Bro, significantly better. Come on.
Yeah.
Way better.
And it's important to note that once you get the email, you have 2 hours to place the order. And I would perhaps go a step further. If you really want this and you do get the email and the site isn't working, call into customer service and try to have them place the order that way. I think it'll be a much better experience than, you know, constantly refreshing a web page that's been crashed. And they say that after 2 hours, they will offer them to other collectors on the RSVP list. So if you're not in that initial solicitation of 300, you may still have a chance. On Auxiliary, I've encouraged a lot of the Patreon members to sign up, even if they're not interested. And that way, like if I get one, like I'm not interested at all, and Marco or another Patreon needs one, I can just order it for them, have it shipped to them. And it just increases our odds as a small community of us getting our people that want the collectibles that they want, and not have to pay scalper prices. So again, that's tomorrow. 300 people should be getting that email. And, you know, if you're interested in it, I wish you all the luck in the world, because it's going to be a madhouse like the Cap was.
But I think better though, right? Because you will know whether you're getting it. You're not going to have to waste like 3 hours like I did last time on the Cap and then not get it.
I think it'll be a better experience. But I think like in any situation like this, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be upset that, you know, even if they didn't waste the time, that they couldn't get the collectible, right? And I don't know that this has the appeal that the Stealth Cap had. For some reason, that one was crazy. At least I haven't seen that on the groups. I think people were kind of lukewarm on this one. But I think anytime you kind of dangle that limited aspect of a collectible like this, with a very, very, very low stock of 300, I think even people that aren't that interested are going to pick it up just to try to flip it. So, you know, if you're one of those guys in our Patreon chat and you want to sign up to the RSVP, that would be great. And hopefully we can get some of our boys this figure. So good luck everyone tomorrow. May the odds be forever in your favor, like they say.
And I will say it's probably going to be pretty dang expensive. I know the Cap, they inflated the price pretty significantly over the Endgame Captain America, so I wouldn't be shocked if this thing was pushing, if it was very, very pricey, because they know what they got.
Yeah, Alvin J says this piece became more desirable the longer I looked at it. Let's get into some new news here. Now this Hot Toys Darth Vader, there's two versions. There's a deluxe and a regular. You're paying $345 for the deluxe, $300 for the regular. This is coming out July to December 2024. Ever since Hot Toys showed the final products of the Empire version, I was like without any amount of doubt convinced that they would see this eventually. When you took that figure apart, the interior of the mask had all the greebling there for this figure, basically the reveal portrait. It just wasn't obviously sculpted. I think that they've done a great job here. I think their quarter scale Vader portrait, I think, is probably one of the best that I've seen personally. The fact that they've been able to carry that into this version, I think it looks fantastic. I think they've done Sebastian Shaw a ton of justice here with the color of the skin, the color of the wounds, color of the eyes. I think just overall the proportions inside the helmet, I think it looks great. You do get two different helmets, portraits, I guess, helmet sculpts. You do get a bunch of hands, including the severed right hand, which really glad they included for a release like this. I think that's a really important accessory. The head does have that greebling detail that I've spoken about. It looks like they've actually touched it up a bit more than it was on the original one, which I think is great to see. It's also interesting to note in some of these photos you do have a tease of the Emperor. It's not the first time the Hot Toys has ever included photos of other characters in their product photos, but with it being the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi and costs skyrocketing for that character, I would not be surprised if Hot Toys does a 40th anniversary packaging of that figure, along with the Imperial Guards and the throne. There's the look there at the light up helmet. To be completely honest, I mean, I think it looks okay. I'm certainly not complaining that they've included it, but it doesn't really match what we see in the movie at all. And I think it's kind of the weakest part of this figure. But it is what it is. I think only Hasbro has done something like this, and it wasn't executed particularly well either on that figure.
Yeah, it was like a skull inside of a clear plastic. Yeah.
I think that was like a little light up thing, so I don't know. Speaking of light ups, you do have the light up base. The deluxe version does come with the two pedestals for the helmets, which I think is a really nice touch. And the portrait does have the separate rolling eyeballs, which is going to be interesting because I don't really know where you'd put the mechanism. Maybe just the top of the head comes out from this part up. You can get your little tool in there to adjust it. One thing that I would say that I don't like from someone that's owned all the other Vaders, they are doing the same weird right saber holding gloved hand where it's like at this weird angle, and it makes posing it really unfortunate. There's obviously no articulation because the gloves are basically one piece. And I remember with the Empire figure, a lot of the people had issues with the gloves porting in with the preset poses that they gave you. And so that's definitely going to be something to look out for. And I think overall, I think the suit, it looks really cheap, especially like in this photo here, when it's articulated, it just doesn't really look right at the elbows. And given Hot Toys' track record of peeling on these pleather suits, I would not be surprised that these will eventually suffer that same fate. There is also some concerns that I have about how they're going to do the batteries on the chest and the belt boxes. I really like the way that Sideshow did them in the past, where they incorporated one wire and one switch to activate all three. I want to say at Empire Vader, it's been a while since I've had that figure, but it was 3 different things you had to activate to get it to work, and it was quite frustrating. But overall, I think this is a good release. I think the prices aren't bad. $300 for the regular, $345 for the deluxe. I don't think this is a make or break deluxe version purchase, in my opinion. I just don't think that light up head is that cool to justify the price. And it's nice that they did give us some options here. Dean, big fan of Vader that you are. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it looks fantastic. I think if you wanted that ultimate Vader in your collection, this is probably it, right? You get the Sebastian Shaw head sculpt. Pretty iconic movie version of it. I mean, honestly, you could pick any Vader and you're probably really pretty well off on the Vader front.
Yeah.
For me personally, I have kind of like my ideal Vader in my collection already, which I started with the Sideshow exclusive. So I already have a Sebastian Shaw head sculpt. It's probably not as good as this is, but I don't really display it that way anyway. But in terms of if I was going to get another Vader in my collection, I'm probably just going to go with the battle damaged one from the Obi-Wan show. So I don't see any room in my collection for this since I'm going to end up with 2 Vaders. But again, you could almost pick any Darth Vader and be fine. So I think this is pretty solid. It's a good release. Like you said, the exclusive bit is like okay. It's a head sculpt or I guess a helmet sculpt that might be cool for a couple photos, and then like an elaborate stand for the helmets. But I think if you just got the deluxe, or the regular, you're just as good. So solid. I'm not over the moon about it. So
yeah, I'm pretty over the moon about this one, to be honest with you. Since I've started collecting, I think the Empire Strikes Back Vader is the only one that has released, right? So fairly new to the game overall. And I held off because that one's nice, but it didn't have a ton of display options, right? It was just pretty standard overall. But then with the Kenobi Vader, and then this version, I feel like they've given us just so many options, so many display options from the head sculpt to bases. Hopefully a wired cape on that Kenobi Vader, but I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath. So honestly, I think this is just about everything I could have possibly wanted. I love that Hot Toys has given us the ability to display the multiple head sculpts as well. I hope we see more of that. And then also just they're continuing this trend of diorama bases. With some people that might be throwaway, that's perfectly fine. And I think if you put them behind a deluxe release, that's even better because you can choose a more standard option. But those diorama bases are just honestly so valuable sometimes in the display. Like I love messing around with those. I'm obviously having Zach print me some custom bases because there's just a lack of good diorama bases. So overall, I think this is a great release, and I'm getting this and the Kenobi Vader. I think they could both really complement one another, but I don't know that everyone needs to get 2. And I'm also afraid of the peeling issues, but having not had a Vader yet, I guess ignorance is bliss at this point.
I've had mine, for years. It was like the second 6-scale figure I ever bought.
Mm-hmm.
I kept mine in the hand on belt pose. I've never had issues peeling. I feel like if you keep them in like a good temperature, you could also treat them.
So
they have the pleasant treatment.
Your bodysuit is the Sideshow one, right?
Yeah.
So that's a different material than what Hot Toys uses. And I think the Hot Toys is much more susceptible to peeling. Like the material, I'm almost certain it's because you have the Sideshow body and the Hot Toy suit doesn't fit on the Sideshow
I don't
body.
think I'm not using the Sideshow suit. I switched it.
The reason that I have concerns just from my own experience, I feel like the suit really likes to stick to itself, like long term, and that's just my own experience. One thing that's also going to be very interesting to see how they've done is the pleating. I feel like on the Empire Strikes Back version, the pleating was kind of weird. Excuse me, on the Rogue One version, the pleating was kind of weird. I'm also seeing the chain there for the neck, which is really nice. David Prowse complained that the chain was choking him during filming, so they added a nice little chain there. The bottom vent looks great. Should be that nice large triangle there at the bottom. The only thing that kind of bothers me is I feel like they've not improved the sculpt on the helmet any. It's too tall in the cheek areas, and it doesn't quite look right. And I know when I talked about this on the Empire version, I mentioned that eventually we'd see a like the Hot Toys, do a sculpt in the helmet type of deal. But even back then, the way that they did it for the Empire one was where you had the back of the head, and then you could remove the dome and the front of the helmet, or excuse me, just the dome to see that scarring on the back. But I felt like having that head in there really messed with the proportions of the helmet. They had to make it taller to accommodate that piece. And even though it looks like they're giving you the swap out helmets so that you can display it and not have to worry about the full face being inside the helmet, it doesn't look like they've really changed any of those proportions. And I still have to say, honestly, I think the best sculpt on the market is the quarter scale Vader sculpt. I think that one looks really solid. This doesn't look to me like they just took that and scaled it down. The head sculpt does, but not the helmet. And I would say still a strong second. I really have to say is the Kyoto Vader helmet. I think that is still arguably the best 6 scale Vader sculpt on the market. It's a very expensive model kit from the late 80s. It's a vinyl model kit, and they're hard to find. But if you get one, you get it painted up. I think it looks pretty good. So,
I do want a Lamborghini, but my Honda Civic does just fine. So
yeah, I mean, this is fine. We're talking about like a level of like specificity that like probably only I care about. But I do think it's important to note they haven't really improved this portrait, the helmet portrait, at all. So
no, that's
just
fair
put
enough.
that out there.
Yeah.
Let's move on here. Now this is interesting. Hot Toys C-3PO. This one comes in at $324, and this is the first time that I've seen this in a very long time. The Vader was July to December 2024, but on Sideshow they have this one listed as April to September 2024. And usually when every time we get a release with that same week, everything lines up just about at the same time. So this is a little bit interesting. Also important to note, this is listed on their diecast line, and I do wish that Hot Toys was transparent from the gate and informed us like, hey, this piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece are diecast. Because without that information, I myself as a collector feel like it's implied that this whole thing should be diecast. I would hate to get this in hand and you find like, oh, it's just the knees and the joints, or like, oh, it's just a few parts of the character itself.
For that price, it better not be.
Yeah, I think I want to say it was the Mark 1, the remake, where they specified like, hey, these armor pieces are diecast and the rest are plastic. I think it certainly would have been nice if they had gone forward and showed us this. But overall, I think the gold is good. This is Return of the Jedi. He's not spick and spin, bright ultra chrome gold. He's got that kind of weathered gold look from the Tatooine scenes and the Endor scenes. I think this looks fantastic. You got the Jawa's little pet there eating his eye out, which I think is a pretty cool little inclusion. I think being that this is our first 3PO, I'm a bit annoyed that the base is very stylized to the sail barge. I think it would have been nice if we had some options for this base topper. But I do
maybe like a sand base with just 2 footprints.
Well, not that, but he's been in a lot of like a nice black, Death Star base, just something that isn't like incredibly, I don't know. I guess you could say both are very scene specific, but something that is a little bit more Star Wars universe than the very specific Jabba's sail barge.
Yeah, but 3PO doesn't go to the Death Star in Return of the Jedi.
I understand that, but I'm saying as this is our only representation to this point, there's a lot of other backgrounds or display bases that I would have chosen to do this.
Yeah, it also looks like a sticker. Like it's not actually like.
You're kind of right. Yeah, it does.
Like
it's not. You don't see the dips in it.
Yeah, the dimensions.
I feel like I did say this, but just in case I haven't, this is the C-3PO by Hot Toys. Yeah, I don't know. I like this a lot. I think that there's, as collectors, we've been waiting for 3PO for a long time, and I want to say, Dean, at one point, did we ever get one from Force Awakens, the Red Arm version, or was it only teased? It was teased, though, right?
Teased.
Like it was like the neck down, right?
Yeah, the only one we've actually gotten for pre-order is episode 2, which is
correct, which is like the not like the very
one.
Yeah, the skeletonized one. I don't know. This seems like a very bare bones figure. You get the Salacrus Crumb, or however you say his name.
Salacious.
Salacious. Thank you. The 2 portraits, a few hands. I don't know. For $324, which is right in the middle of that Vader price point, I don't see the value here unless this is all die-cast. I think if it's all die-cast, you could maybe make the argument.
I mean, die-cast Iron Man are $450 plus, so...
Yeah, but they have light-up parts all over the figure. This just has the portrait that needs to line up. And they also have way more swap-out parts and accessories, so I can see this
it's also
coming
$100 less, if not more, so... If it was $450, I'd
They're also not paying for Robert Downey Jr.'s likeness, though.
True, they're not paying,
which is incredibly
likeness.
expensive.
Yeah.
Which great arguments here. And now Alvin J says, "How does the sideshow version compare? I wonder if it's going to be bargain bin by now." I think Dean has a sideshow. I think it's fantastic. It's just way too tall, and I would die on that hill.
It's wicked tall. It's also super delicate. None of it's die-cast. It's all plastic.
Yeah.
And the bits on his arm, especially on the outside of his forearm, there's just like a little intricate, ornate piece. It's not part of the articulation. It's just like a piece there that's incredibly thin on the sideshow one, and mine broke almost immediately. But yeah, it's good enough. If I only have R2 and 3PO on the shelf, it works fine. But the second I put other characters on the shelf, 3PO is way too tall. This is a figure I've been waiting for. I would prefer a New Hope 3PO, which is very chrome. That being said, I'll probably just order this one and hope the other one gets released down the line and just sell this one. But this is more along the lines of the 3PO I've been waiting for. The episode 2 one where he's all discolored and dirty and grimy, I guess. But this, to me, is, closer to the iconic 3PO. And, it's not the best movie. I would have preferred, if you're gonna do a 3PO that's not from A New Hope, Empire is way cooler. You have way more, when he's in pieces, you could have done a little Chewie backpack.
That's coming. That's coming eventually, Dean.
Well, now that they have the molds, though, you got to think they're going to do episode 3 where he's fucking blinged out. They're going to do episode 4, episode 5. They're going to milk this motherfucker.
I would hope, right? 3PO is one of those characters that, has very different looks throughout the trilogy or the series. But it's like a swap out eye, like, I guess you could have even put in a Wookiee or an Ewok bench for this guy, like something else other than a popped out eyeball. You know what I mean? Like he goes to Endor, you could have done like little, again, like you have the molds for stormtroopers' heads on sticks. Like you could have done that on the base, like something that makes it, a little more exciting than a popped out eyeball. So. But again, this is a character I've been waiting for a long time, so I'm happy to see it anyway.
Yeah. So Zach, in terms of what you were asking for, like, okay, this piece is die cast. This kind of goes back to the consistency that we want. We know they did that with the Mark I die cast, right? The Iron Man. They said, okay, these are all the specific pieces that are die cast. Would have been really cool to see that on this and the previous 3PO release. So I'm just going to assume that it's all die cast minus maybe the hands and a few other select parts because they haven't communicated that. So if that's not the case, obviously we're not going to be very happy. But I'm thrilled with this release as well. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid for sure. I think that they've come out of the gate. Hot Toys has kind of swinging with Return of the Jedi. We don't know how much further they're going to go, but you could assume that it's going to get pretty spendy pretty quick because I had to go snag this one up too. I'm already getting R2 from Attack of the Clones. I think, I'm not super specific about which versions need to pair together, so I think those two will look great with one another. I'm with Dean, though. A New Hope version would have been my preference, a little less weathered, but I think this is going to do the trick. Love this Lacious Crumb edition. Love the popped out eye. I know you both are underwhelmed by that. I think it's kind of like a cool addition. It is on the pricier side, but again, if it's all die cast, then I think we're good to go. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this release. One last thing I will say though, I don't love how he looks with the lights turned off in his eyes. I wish that there was a bit more another option besides having to have it plugged in or turned on for it to just look alive. That's going to be disappointing to have it on the shelf and look a little bit dead.
I wonder, so these are swappable face plates, so we'll get to Doc's comment because I think it's a great comment here. I wonder, like with Iron Man figures, what I used to do, when I would collect them is you could put like a piece of white paper behind the eye, and it would kind of look like it was on. I wonder if that's possible when the faceplates are removed, if there's the LED behind that. So that would be interesting to see. I also wonder if this is possible, because I know a lot of people did this with the Beskar. If you're going to find people that take that mineral spirits, clean the whole weathering off, and, kind of customize their own, episode 3 or, beginning of A New Hope 3PO where he's nice and chrome, not chrome, but very shiny. I certainly think people would do that after finding out that weathering can be removed. Doc Smizzle makes a great point here. I'm more concerned that no one has mentioned the arm pieces are swapped. The smooth side of the bicep should be on the inside of the arm, and the outside has the detail facing forward. I am not a 3PO guy, so I'm going to cede to your judgment there. But yeah, if that is the case, that's certainly concerning. Dean, are you a 3PO expert that you might be able to confirm or deny this?
I am not an expert on his armor. Let's
look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I don't really. It's hard to know what's like
as it rotates. Like I don't know. I would say from the images that I'm seeing, Doc, you are correct. But
yeah, it's hard to know what's like sometimes it's like what's a toy, what's a statue, what's a stock photo, what's screen used. But yeah, it's the only thing I would say, Zach, about removing the weathering and stuff, the mineral spirits to have a different look.
You might polish off the paint. Get down to the die cast.
Yeah, except, from A New Hope to Empire or to Return of the Jedi, the wires in his midsection are wildly different. So it would, if you're like a stickler for that kind of stuff, it would look odd, like, oh, it's a shiny chrome
I would
3PO, and it's like, but it's the wires are wrong.
I would
and
say
if you're already talking about smooth arms, someone's going to point it out.
I would say the counterpoint to that would be like Mando's armor isn't that Merichrome either. So I think, you and I both know, right? There's anything that shows up on screen for 2 seconds and it's like everyone's racing to be the first one to like have that thing.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So that someone's going to do it. But I would warn you though, as someone that has painted a lot of things for a lot of people, die-cast metal does not take paint as well as plastic. So when you're rubbing that shit off with mineral spirits, which I've heard is quite the task, I wouldn't be surprised if you rub off that gold or that chrome and get to the
Manny go
die-cast.
first.
This is a smart move.
Yeah, let Manny do it.
Poor guy. I love that guy. This is pretty cool. So this is the iconic Ken from Street Fighter V, the Champion Edition. This one comes in at $289, releasing Q4 2023 to Q1 2024. Bit surprised there by that Q4 release date, but I do know that Andy from Iconic Studios did a 2-hour interview with Ian and Pete last Thursday. We re-aired it Thursday night, but if you want to hear more about this figure and more about the things that this company has gone through and what they're working towards this year and last year, definitely check that out.
Zach, a quick point of clarity on the Q4 of this year. So that was from Iconic's website. On Sideshow, it actually doesn't list Q4 this year. It's earliest is Q1 next year. So I can imagine we're not seeing this thing here for a while.
Whoever put that in the show sheet is fired.
It's on their website though. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Depends where you ordered from. Yeah.
Depends where you ordered it from. So, yeah, I think that the Ryu is certainly in the conversation as being one of the better figures released late last year to this year. I think that they've managed to do something really special with that figure, with the body that they've developed from the ground up, the paint work, the quality, the presentation. I am genuinely very excited to see kind of what this figure has to offer. If it'll be more on the same, or maybe there's some things that they've learned that they're going to apply to this. But yeah, this is going to be neat. I'm not personally, interested in this, but certainly those that picked up the Ryu, this seems like a must-have shelf mate for that character. You do get some fire accessories. You do get the interchangeable head sculpts and hairstyles, which I think all look very good. The yellow is very yellow, but also looking at the character, like I think that's the only way that you could do it, bringing it into like a 3-dimensional product that people have to hold in their hands. And as someone that paints, it's a struggle that I always have with yellow-haired characters. But yeah, this looks fantastic. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see how deep they go into this line. I know Andy said that, this certainly isn't the end of what they're doing. And so, yeah, if you're even remotely interested in Street Fighter, I think the time is now. 1, to get this, 2, to try to track down Ryu, because they've said many times they are not reissuing figures. They may make variations of characters, but if you're after these iconic looks of these iconic characters for this franchise, yeah, this seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, Kid and Ryu are homies. They train together, they grow up together. And
oh yeah, then why do they fight every time?
Because they want to make each other better.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't think you can have Ryu without Ken. Like, it's just like peanut butter and jelly. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't. It's impossible. So, I love seeing this. Yeah, it's a solid release, or a solicitation. I guess it's not released, but yeah. In terms of the Ken or the Ryu, I think it's contender for figure of the year. It came out this year, huh?
This year, yeah.
By our definition, it came out late enough last year that it missed the nomination cycle, so it is valid for this year's awards.
Yeah.
And then it didn't really hit full retail release in the U.S. until February. So yes, it is eligible.
So I don't see why this Ken would be any different. I think, like Zach said, if you're even remotely interested in these, go ahead and pre-order it now. So yeah, pretty solid. Marco, you have the Ryu?
Yeah, I have the Ryu. Love it, honestly. Like, really, really happy to, number one, both support iconic, and also just the way the figure came out. Just overall, just a win all around. But I was like, all right, do I need this Ken? Like, do I really need it? I was more of a Ryu guy anyways, growing up. And I was like, the preview that they showed, it had the long hair. And I was like, I don't know that I like that look. That's not really the Ken that I grew up with. But the fact that they've given us multiple options kind of made it a no-brainer for me, right? I think I went and tracked it down at a really good price. And so, yeah, I had to have it, I think, to pair. But I think someone else, let's see, someone else just said they don't need another line to collect. That's what's kind of scary, because they're going to be coming out with Chun-Li, with, I don't know, maybe Bison, all types of, there you go, right? So yeah. I guess Vega, depends on,
baby.
There you go.
That's why I didn't pick up the Ryu, because I was like, I'm not going to get, it's why I don't have like Lord of the Rings figures. Like, I just don't want to jump down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, the Ryu's just about gone too. I think he's still at 1/6 kit, and I know we'll get there in just a sec in terms of the promo codes. But yeah, it's just about gone. So I think you're right. If you're going to pair these two together, now is kind of the time.
Yeah, I totally agree. The chat is saying it's Ryu, not Ryu. Cram says, I'm guessing Akuma or Chun-Li next.
Ryu. Yeah, I always say
Ryu.
We all grew up saying Ryu, right?
That's hearsay. Let's move on here. The Ancient by Toys Era. This is Q3 2023, $200 price point. Now, a lot of people complain that, one, her arms are too long, and 2 that they're jointed arms, which I think these are just terrible. Like I'm all about jointed arms, but you got to do better than this. But on 1/6 kit on their pre-order, it says that as a pre-order bonus, they're including a pair of seamless arms, which I'm like 99% sure that just means that they're also including a pair of seamless arms for everyone, because logistically it would be a nightmare to like only ship a certain batch to kit only, and only those that actually pre-order together, they're just going to be with everybody's.
On Giant Toy, they updated it to it's including seamless arms.
Yeah, so this is Dean, I don't know anything about this character, so
yeah,
that's as much information as I can provide to the people.
Yeah, so this is Aerith or Aerith if you're a noob. From Final Fantasy VII Remake. No, it's not a Targaryen. How dare you? And this figure looks fucking fantastic. Coming out of left field from Toys era. I don't think anyone saw this coming. But Aerith is one of those figures that, Game Toys has already made Cloud and Sephiroth, and Aerith is right up there with them. So to see another company tackling it, I love to see it. And this prototype looks pretty fucking fantastic. I would say
looks pretty spot on to the game for sure.
Yeah, pretty up there with Game Toys. There's a lot of third party kits out there. Not that this isn't third party, but they're just not very good. It's just like if you're desperate to have Aerith on the shelf, those are out there. But to wait for this, I'm pre-ordering this immediately. Ordering it from our local guy here in town. But yeah, this honestly is fantastic.
Yeah, this is not a character that I, care too much for. I'm not far enough yet, Dean. I know I've let you down. I'm not far enough yet in the remake to really see how like her character really plays out in the overall story. So when I get there, maybe I'll care. But knowing what the character looks like in the game, pretty damn spot on. So hopefully they continue this line.
Yeah, I would say, man, it's hard because remake is okay, but I don't think you're really going to appreciate Aerith until you get to the end of the game, seeing whichever direction they take it. But in the original game, I mean, she's just so fucking amazing. I love Aerith.
Nice.
Congratulations. And Dean, they also showed this here. So they said that you can join their Facebook group for discussion on these. We have 4 of these characters. So you want to go and shout those out and tell us what you're excited for?
Yeah, so they show this Aerith, put it up for pre-order, and then in a discussion on their Facebook group, they showed the figure of Aerith, and then they also showed Tifa, Cloud, Sephiroth, and Barrett in a size chart. So it's like, are they teasing these characters as potential figures? Are they just showing how tall she would be next to them, which makes zero sense? Like, okay, like if they weren't figure teases, why would they include this? So I think it's real exciting. I have the Game Toys Cloud, but I'm also one of those guys who will buy every version of Cloud, and pretty much every character from this video game. So if they release every one of these, I'm all for it.
Is there a 1/6 Barrett?
No, I think one was teased. I don't think it's come out yet, and I know there's like a 12 scale one that came out. But
got it. He'd be terrific in 1/6. Like
it
you
would
look
be
at the size,
incredible.
it'd be massive too. But
yeah, because the Game Toy Sephiroth is huge. Because I think the Cloud is just a little over 12 inches tall, which is way too fucking tall for Cloud. Cloud's only canonically like 5'6" or something. I don't know what this equates to, but on 173 centimeters. But in the original game, he's not very tall. Maybe he's 5'8".
That's like 170 centimeters more than you really need to. So
yeah, honestly,
100%.
So the Sephiroth is even taller. So the Barrett would be even bigger than that. So I would love to see it, all of these characters.
Wow, very cool. So Dean's excited. And I'll tell you what I'm excited about, Dean. It's 1/6 Kit. You can save $10 off your first purchase on 1/6 Kit using code CW10. Again, that's CW10 for $10 off your first purchase on 1/6 Kit. Yeah, get that Ryu. Get $10 off. Don't pay the scalper prices. Also, shout out to Off the Racks Collectibles. You can get $15 off your $100 purchase as many times as you want with code CW. The discount is taken on the if you're doing a pre-order, it's on the final payment, and if you're doing an in-stock, it's right away. So shout out to both these gents for taking care of our CW listeners. Let's talk about Celebration 2023. It was this past weekend. We were fortunate enough to be able to send Ian and Pete to Celebration, thanks to the people that join the Patreon, sign up for our memberships, do the super chats. We were able to send them out and have a good time on Saturday for Celebration. And they will be doing a full Celebration stream on Thursday. They're doing a special episode with Shane Figure Focus. So we're not really trying to upend their show, but we do got to talk about it. And so we each picked one thing or some things that we thought were the most exciting things. We're going to share those with you guys today. Small Talk is also on Thursday, so you'll get plenty more of the smaller scale stuff. And so we'll jump the gun on them just a little bit as well. But for more detailed stuff, definitely be sure to check out those other programs. So for me, the most exciting thing at Celebration was the N1 TVC. This thing is fucking awesome. And these are photos from Chris, Vintage Viewport. So I hope that he's cool that I'm using them. But I genuinely, this is the second vehicle that I've ever had the chance to get for TVC. Obviously, I missed out on the Razor Crest. I had to pay like buku money for it on the aftermarket. I think I paid like $2.50 retail on that, and I still felt like I did pretty good for myself. But yeah, so I was absolutely not going to miss the chance to get my first new release vehicle that I actually care about from like at retail. This one's $131, releasing in December 2023. And they honestly thought of everything. Like, I'm going to pull up the video here in a second for us to watch. But if you really look at this, outside of the paint, which I think is certainly lacking, they really like jam-pack this thing full of cool shit. So here's a look at the kind of the sample of what we would get. It's kind of weird because they did a lot of paint work on the body, and then the engines on the side, they're like, fuck it, we'll just do shiny swirly plastic, and that's kind of weird. But man, the cockpit with the detailing, Grogu's seat, the carded Mandalorian, this sold out. I didn't witness this myself because I was about 20 minutes late to the pre-order, but I've seen some people mention it's sold out in about 5 minutes on Hasbro Pulse, and I believe on Big Bad Toy Store in Entertainment Earth, it's still available for a pre-order. But yeah, this is certainly something that if you're even like remotely interested in, I would get this ASAP, because a lot of these websites you can pre-order without paying any money down, and that way you can secure your copy. You have a few, any amount of time to think about it, and then cancel if you truly don't want it. But man, they've done a lot of really cool things here. It looks like this chassis is built off of I think it's called the Hero series, Hero Scale N1 from the Phantom Menace. I think that released in 2015, I want to say. It looks like they're using the same chassis because it has some of the same functions where basically the entire back half of the ship flips forward to access the cockpit. But let's pull up this video here. Yeah, I will get to that comment in 1 second. Actually, Dean, do you want to go and read that for me real quick while I'm pulling this video up?
Yeah, Alvin J says, can I request that you talk about the new Micro Galaxy Squadron reveals on Small Talk? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Dean, if you can you just message Sean that a screenshot of that? We do want to talk about it, and I know Ian and Pete actually got us. Supposedly, some contact information was exchanged. I haven't got an email yet, but we're supposedly going to be in contact with Galaxy Squadron people for an interview at some point. Don't quote me on that because, like I said, I haven't seen anything myself. But when I do a breakdown with Ian and Pete, we'll figure out what the deal with that is. But I actually just opened up my first Keeper Galaxy Squadron yesterday. I had one in the past. I returned it because I was unhappy with it. But I picked up the second version of the Razor Crest, and honestly, of all the things I've unboxed this year, it was probably one of the most fun unboxings that I had. So here's a look at the N1. Let's not get claimed for that. We'll kind of fast
Too
forward
late.
a bit.
Too late. Too iconic already.
Oh God, yeah, I know. When does the music end?
Man, it feels so little.
We saw it on screen.
It is small.
It's got so many features and so many
It looks huge to me, honestly. Like way more than you really want.
Yeah, if you look at the picture of me holding the one that I have, which is like 24 inches long, Chris estimated this to be about 17, so it's about 7
little
inches
engine bits and hoses,
smaller.
all sorts of things going on there. Details inside the body of the ship. It does stuff like wanting to recreate all the scenes from the show. All these different pieces come off, so you can pull off things like this, like the little engine
The paint
cover.
looks
You can move
less
it to the
flat
other
than I
side.
expected too.
Also, is like we want to show you guys what this thing did in the show, and then he like does something that never happened in the show. But
You can recreate scenes like that. It comes with 2 figures. It comes with Mando on a card back and Grogu.
which is fantastic. Also, kind of odd that Grogu's not in the card back. But
So he's up here tapping on the glass with his little shift knob. We've got sliding canopy, so when you have Mando in there, you can pose it out like in the show. We've got this whole thing opens up, so it's real easy to get down in there and pose the figure inside.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed it didn't slide open. I was like, that's stupid.
But while you're
but now
down
they
here,
do both.
But
That's
Dean,
fucking
like
cool.
this shit, like literally, I was at Subway. This is only like a 3-minute video. I was at Subway going crazy. I was eating my lunch and I was like, "Oh shit! It does that. It does that. It does that too."
First time anyone's ever been excited at a Subway too. So.
How dare you?
So back here in the back,
You don't get excited by 6 inches, Marco?
There's a little
No,
space
just
to store his
not mediocre
jetpack,
sandwiches for sure.
his Beskar spear, his vibro knife.
So weapon
dark
storage.
saber,
Love that.
Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we even put in a space for his rifle. This figure doesn't come with one, but if you've got one from a previous purchase, there's even a spot to store that in there.
Love that.
So,
Why doesn't it
stuff
come
like
with
that.
the rifle?
The rifle
he
gets
doesn't-
blown up. The rifle gets
Yeah,
blown up with the ship.
Close that up.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
Razor Crest.
Another little feature
Fake
this
fan.
thing has. Obviously, it's on the stand, but there's a
I
ball
mean,
pivot on the
you
top of the
include
stand.
a fucking
Close this
space for the rifle,
in any
but
orientation you want.
never
Okay,
has
to
it.
be fair, this one comes with the pistol, the Beskar stabby knife thing, and then the Darksaber, which is more than any of the other Mandos have come
Some
with
nice
to this
dynamic
point.
stuff.
I know, but if you're gonna make a
But
point
also,
to include the
pop
rifle
it
slot,
off of
just
that
put the
stand.
fucking rifle in the
I
bottom.
mean, you're not wrong.
You're
I'm
already
not complaining.
asking too
Second
much.
stand.
Look, it gets
in
a
here,
second stand
and then
too.
You can rest it
Wow.
there, so it's like it just
Oh,
landed
man,
and it's
Dean.
parked there. So when you stand a figure next to it, it's at the
pretty
right
clean.
little parked hovering attitude.
It's crispy.
Other little details, this piece here on the top pops off, so you can recreate Mando carrying that piece around.
The engine comes off to
We've
paint
got
that
these
baby.
little cones on the back of the engines come off, so if you've got a few old pit droids laying around, you can have them carrying that, helping you out, bringing that in.
How do you think this
So
is
we've
going to
got
look
those
next to the
parts.
Razor Crest?
We've
You
got-
think it'll be out of place at all, or you think it's a good companion piece?
I'm excited. I'm honestly excited. I mean, I don't know which I'm gonna display, but I ordered 2
Tail
of these.
comes off back here.
Nice.
Check this shit
and
out,
then
Dean.
inside comes with this little piece. You saw the Jawas deliver that.
Remember
So
that
you
thing that they
slide
used
in
to
there,
hold
nice
the Death
little
Star
nod
in?
to New Hope.
Nice.
I was like,
Pop
bro,
that
they have
inside.
everything.
What else do we have going on?
The only thing I think it could have came with was little thruster effects for the engine and the bottom engine, but honestly,
Yeah.
like, incredibly nitpicky.
There's so much. My brain's hurt. Little cockpit bubble.
Oh,
cockpit.
okay, hang on. This is the coolest
Brain's
part
hurting.
here.
Well, so Grogu, he's sitting in his little cockpit, bubble cockpit back here. So you can get him out. A quick little look at
It
Grogu
comes with the little
there.
knob in his hand.
New Grogu with the little knob going on. And if we take the bottom of Grogu's little cockpit seat and pop that out, we can put in a different one back there.
Bro.
And that is compatible with our Build-A-Droid
Bro,
head. So you can
I'm
pop
telling
out
you,
that little
they
droid
thought of
head with that
fucking
R5 flying
everything.
around back there looking.
I
Really some
was
great
about to
stuff.
say, if this
The
shit
veil-
comes with a fucking R5 head, I'm gonna fucking shit.
That's
my
the
pants.
only thing that it didn't come with. But, bro, okay, so
I
they're
just pre-ordered on BBTS.
Nice.
Sean says I pre-ordered on Amazon as soon as it went through. Hugh, if you pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth, they don't charge you until it ships. I can't confirm on Amazon. I feel like I've had
It's the same
mixed-
way on Amazon.
Okay, they've charged me for one pre-order in the past right away, and it was really annoying. I had to call them to get them to like
Really?
reverse
What
it.
the heck?
But it was like 2 years ago, so I just don't ever pre-order on Amazon anymore. But yeah, definitely, if you're even remotely interested, I would try to get those orders in because that's just fucking awesome.
In terms of having it next to the Razor Crest, I think it's too like underscaled. I think it's gonna look funny. But I guess the Razor Crest is underscaled.
The Razor Crest is very underscaled, Dean, because the accurate N1 that I have, the scale, it's almost as long as the Razor Crest. It looks very weird next to it.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So they've scaled it all down.
So
they kind of made the Razor Crest as big as it probably could be. Any bigger would have been ludicrous.
Yeah, and look at this. They even have the dials. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is repaint and weather this whole cockpit, and then print out like the little diagrams that go in each of these little circles. So that'll be a fun thing to do. But man, just all the love and attention that they showed to this release. It is a bit expensive, 132, but it's coming around Christmas time. I'm gonna have one of these bad boys hopefully under the tree, and I'm extremely excited to get this in hand. I do wish that they had painted this a lot better to match the Razor Crest, because the Razor Crest is all painted pretty much. Like, it's painted and weathered and it's beautiful. And a lot of this is just bare plastic with decals on it. So we'll see. It would be even nice if the decals came not pre-applied, so you could just paint it and then slap the decals on when you're done.
So you're pretty stoked that this is not a HasLab product, though, like they could have done.
Fantastic. Well, it's mixed, right? Because, 131, if this was a HasLab, I think the minimum that I think we'd see this is 150 to 200. But if you think about what they would do with the HasLab, I think the only things that they could do, like they would give you the base ship first and then do the tiers. I think the only thing that is not in this package, like Dean said, is R5, right? Mm-hmm. They gave you the 2 different capsules. They gave you the droid seat. They gave you weapon storage. They gave you a carded figure, which is what they normally do. Maybe Grogu on a carded figure as well. Those would really
probably would have done a carded Peli and the droids as well, or something.
Yeah, maybe like a pit droid or something. It comes with a stand. Now I do think it will display really nicely with the Razor Crest, because the base that it's on, not a perfect match, but is certainly styled in the same. Or actually,
that's what made me ask
it is the
question.
Same. It is okay. So the Mandalorian, yeah, it is actually the same style.
Because it seems like it's being designed to be put kind of side by side, because it's that black with the acrylic.
Yeah, with that kind of like winged acrylic design. Yeah, no, okay. So then this should display really well, and I like it, right? Because not everyone has the space to display this in every orientation. So the fact that you can kind of cant it just a little bit to, maybe maximize a potential display or tilt it up or down. If you have it high, you can tilt it down, or if you have it low, you can tilt it up. I really genuinely think that they thought of a lot of stuff that, even a lot of the STL makers don't or haven't thought of. Yeah. Vintage Rebellion says you're absolutely going to get a single carded R5 whose head will fit on there. Yeah, that's exciting.
That's the only thing I'm kind of disappointed in.
Is that it doesn't have the R5.
If it doesn't have the R5, but they already knew to include a swap out port for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it could be like Vintage said, that it's a like a standalone card that gets released.
I know, but
should we have to spend an extra $13? No, but I will say one thing that
it's not going to be $13 by the time it comes out. It's going to be fucking $20.
One thing also that I will say that I do like about this is there's not like a gimmicky effect, right? And earlier someone was like, "Oh, well,
You're
TVC
not
do
wrong.
that," but TVC does do some gimmicky shit. The TIE Fighter TVC, it has like this explosion feature where the wings will just like jettison off. But
That's
long-term display.
A TIE Fighter thing.
I know, but I'm saying like this doesn't have like some goofy missiles in the front blasters or like, something very obvious that makes it look toy-like. I think they've done a very, very good job. And even like that little metal rod thing that goes in the back, which, just kind of plugs into nothing.
Yeah, you'll never see it.
It's just like, they didn't have to do that. It probably added nothing to the cost of it. As a collector, you're like, damn, like they did that, right?
It adds nothing to the cost, but they're going to charge you for it.
Well, I don't know what the breakdown is, but I feel like I'm getting my money's worth. I feel like it's a reasonable
price.
Yeah.
It's not.
I was thinking this would be about $200.
Yeah.
And so that's what excited me the most. I'm going to talk about this more on Small Talk on Thursday. So Sean and Chris will get into that. Now, Dean, you were excited for Visions Volume 2. Now, Visions Volume 1, not particularly well received by the Star Wars community. I think there was like a few episodes that were pretty okay, but I never really got into it. I didn't particularly love it, but I'm curious. tell me, what are we thinking on this one?
Yeah, the only reason I'm remotely excited about this is because these are unrelated Star Wars stories that aren't canon and don't matter. So if they fuck it up, who cares?
Dean's tongue, $5. Dean, can we see a little tongue for $5? Whoa!
Wow, I just saved myself $150.
Anyway, yeah, if they fuck up Star Wars Visions, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Because they fuck up everything else. So it's like, hey, we're going to do fucking Ahsoka. I have no faith that you're going to do that remotely well. Hey, we're going to do whatever it is that they're going to do. I have zero faith. So this, if they fuck it up, who cares? They're not ruining anything. Yeah, Star Wars Visions, the first one was, like you said, a few of them are pretty good. I would say maybe like 40% of them are watchable. The whole point of Star Wars Visions was to get Japanese studios and artists involved in the Star Wars community. This season is like, I think like 2 of them might be anime. But it's whatever. I'm still excited for it. It looks fun enough, you know. A quick, easy, you know, it's like 10 or 11 episodes that are, you know, 5 to 10 minutes. Cool. It's fun, fast content. So yeah, that's like the only thing I was like, oh, okay, cool. Everything else they announced, I was like, oh God,
really?
like legitimate dread in my heart. So
it's such a bummer to hear, man.
You don't see the new Ray movie?
Yeah, I'm already lining up at the fucking theater for that one.
Wow, that's a bit early. Now, Marco, tell me what you were excited about.
Yeah, so I guess I could categorize this as like Star Wars going back to movies, right? So you mentioned the Rey film, so I'm excited for that, honestly. I think it could be a cool vehicle to continue Grogu's story after we see, you know, Dave Filoni's Avenger-style Mandalorian universe film that's going to be coming out. And then the one that I'm most excited for is the Dawn of the Jedi era, which is, because we've been saying, stop playing in the same sandbox, like go away further back. Let's get some distance from the characters that we know. And so, yeah, James Mangold only makes bangers pretty much, right? He did Logan, Ford versus Ferrari, doing the new Indy. So for him to be involved, now let's see if that project actually comes to fruition. Obviously, Kathy Kennedy's notorious for announcing these and canceling them, but if she's really on her way out, it seems like they've, you know, set a good foundation here. So I love this visual timeline. It's like, hey, we're going to expand the bounds of the stories we're telling, but then also give you stuff in, you know, the kind of the timelines that you still love. So this is really well done here, and I'm hoping that they've actually got a plan finally and can redeem the sequel era films as well.
Look at that. Blue Beetle became a member. Thanks, Carlos.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking at that recap. I'm just like, cool. Like the one nugget for me was Mando, and I feel like this season's just not been great. And then, you know, the whole bringing back Rey for potentially a new trilogy is just like,
all it's going to take is a great film to get everyone excited again, right? Like, let's say a Rogue One style that has the same fanfare.
Like, that trilogy was so bad that, like, literally everything that they've been doing since then is trying to, like, justify its existence. Like, every show now is like, you know, forget what the show was supposed to be about. Let's try to, like, get us to point B. And it's just like, I don't need any more of that. And like, if you fuck it up more, then we're gonna have to get more years of content to explain the new content. That it's just like, bro,
that's why
just
I
let it rest.
That's why I had such a huge problem with the Ahsoka trailer, because
I couldn't even watch it.
Thrawn is back, the new heir to the Empire. It's like, Okay, but we already know where that goes. He's nowhere to be seen in the sequel trilogy, so really, who gives a shit? And then at the end, there's like, she's like, oh, the Jedi are gone. And then the droid is like, well, maybe it's time to start again. It's like, okay, but she doesn't. We already know she doesn't. Because the Jedi Order doesn't exist in the sequel trilogy, and Luke is fucking off somewhere on an island. Like, we already know where the fuck this shit goes, and it's not good. So why the fuck am I going to get all fucking glossy-eyed over it? And it's like, oh, you're going to say it. They're not. Is to convince you that the sequel trilogy wasn't a fucking horrible mistake, and it is. Like, it just is. So yeah, I'm everything about Celebration was a fucking dumpster fire. It was like, okay, like, how am I supposed to get excited about any of this shit?
I get you've been burnt before, but I think there's hope on the horizon, at least for me.
Well, okay, so that's another thing is when they were talking about the Dave Filoni thing, it was like, oh, he's gonna combine all these shows into a movie and it's gonna like alter the timeline or something. They mentioned the timeline shift or some bullshit.
Yeah,
and then
I'm not sure about that.
immediately they were like, oh, a new Rey movie's coming out. I was like, well, then what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's so fucking bizarre.
The Filoni one could be really cool, but that's a tall task, right? For someone who's inexperienced. Obviously, they've got a lot of resources, but to take TV continuity and put it into a really coherent film is going to be really tough. But if they pull that off, I guarantee you everyone will be back on board.
I mean, you have instances that we've already seen. What is it, Zach? The world...
The World Between Worlds,
or
the World Within Worlds, or something like that.
Yeah, where it's like a force dimension, and you can.
This is their time travel, basically, right?
It's very sort of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like maybe they can implement that, but in Rebels, they needed like this specific Sith temple artifact thing to even get there, and that's been destroyed. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they pull it off, but I have fucking zero faith that it's going to happen. So,
I get that. They got to prove it to all of us, right? That they
yeah,
can
and then
actually
it's
pull
like,
it off.
okay, so not only is Star Wars already pretty confusing on, well, when does this take place? Which movie is technically first? What year did this take place? Now we're gonna have two fucking timelines because you're still continuing the Rey shit. So like, what the?
They've got to be visually distinct enough. Like, yeah, they've got to do a better job defining these eras.
But it's also like even within their own timelines, right? Like the Mandoverse, they're like, oh, by the way, it's actually been 2 years since that happened, and you're like, motherfucker, what?
Yeah, they're like, oh, Grogu was Luke for 2 years, and then they immediately backtracked on that, and they're like, oh, well, no, it's anywhere from 0 to 1 year, and it's like, so less than a year. It's a fucking mess. That's why the sequel trilogy was so bad. They had zero fucking clue and plan where they were going.
I agree with you there. I did like 2 out of the 3 films, but you're right. They had no fucking plan was the issue.
I can live with Palpatine coming back because Palpatine came back in the expanded universe in the original books. But like set that shit up way before you even, it's like, oh, Palpatine's here somehow.
Yeah. Yeah,
like, hello.
And then tying him to
somehow
Rey,
that's it. Somehow Palpatine returned. It's like, okay, you set up all this shit. Okay, I'm gonna go on a fucking tangent here, so I'm gonna stop right here. But like, you get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
maybe they pull it off. We'll see.
They got a large hill to climb with a lot of Star Wars fans for sure.
I just gotta say, I saw this goofy ass Thrawn leaked image, and it gave me no. I was like, "That's motherfucking Elon Musk."
Goofy
Come
ass.
on.
You know what's really fucking goofy? Does anybody else see the pregnant Rey thing?
Okay, that I haven't been able to confirm.
I don't think
okay,
so.
well, the movie takes place 15 years later, so I doubt it took her 15 years to get knocked up. Everyone chill the fuck out. That's so stupid.
Big ol' Fern says 1 PP touch for Dean for making a good point.
Hey, thanks. Fern.
Blue Beetle says, I apologize if this is totally off track, but is Dean getting the entire Final Fantasy VII lineup?
If they release the entire lineup, yes.
Well, there's that.
Yes.
Let's get back here. Where are my slides at? Here we go. The hot seat. Let's just have a fun hot seat because a little bit of an intimate panel here tonight.
I want to see you on the hot seat. Come on.
Oh, I made the hot seat, my friend. We'll all participate today. Here's what I want you to do. Marco or Dean, who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
There you go.
All right, so I've seen a lot of these like Barbie meme images, and I genuinely tried to make them for us, but it was like not going to happen. Marco, you look horrifying as a cartoon, by the way. And so
not chalk, just all big eyebrows.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So I'm sorry, Dean's going first or Marco's going first?
I'll go first.
Okay, Dean, pick one of your panel members and name 3 accessories that their Barbie / Hot Toys would come with.
Oh, okay.
And then whoever you pick will go and we'll do like a...
Let me have Ben Thomas, please.
Well, no, just us, because obviously when you ban them, the thing ends.
Got it, all right.
Okay, I'm going to pick... well, this is tough. This is a real tough. I guess I'm going to pick Zach.
And you get 1 point for each, like, that I think is funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Zach.
All right.
3 accessories?
Yeah, 3 accessories.
Oh man. Okay, I would pick.
Dashing good looks. Yes.
I would pick a wizard staff.
Okay, I love it.
1 because you love Gandalf, and 2 because you are Ozal. So a wizard staff. You don't actually carry one around, but I think that'd be nice.
I carry a Glock around, but that's pretty close.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a couple pistols. A couple pistols would be cool.
That's John Moran, I think, is what you're talking about.
And then maybe like a airbrush or like a hobby kit, like a.
Okay.
Have you ever seen The Professional? Leon the Professional? Where he has the box and it opens up and there's a bunch of guns, but you would be like paints and airbrushes and shit.
Or a bunch of guns too. I mean, I'm about that life.
Yeah, that's why I said a wizard staff, some pistols, and a hobby box.
I give you all 3 points, Dean. 3 points for Dean. Let's see. Let me go to my little thing here. Dean with 5 points. We'll scroll that around the bottom. So for me, picking Marco. Let's see. Of course, it would come with a 1/6 scale pancake because why wouldn't it?
Had to do it.
It would come with a NECA VHS Turtles box with the slightest crease printed into the top left corner of the box.
Way too soon.
Yeah, and I don't know. Okay, so Marco's like a pretty skinny dude, right? He says he's not, but he really is. I've never seen a human being eat as much in one day, nay, one weekend, as I have seen Marco ever. Like, I mean, I was like, where is this going? It was like a black hole. So it would just be like a huge,
Coming
like a
out
12-pack
his
of
brown
food. Yeah, he was sending faxes to Cleveland, so fax machine too. So those are my 3 things. So Marco, for Dean, what would Dean's accessories be?
This is easy.
If Dean had a figure.
Easy. And apologies, there's a dog barking over here, so things may get crazy. But it would have to come with a sweet tea. 100%.
Oh, 100%. When Dean's late, he's like, I'm getting a sweet tea. It's like, bro,
exactly.
What do you mean you're getting a sweet tea? Like, you're going to get one? You just have the tea?
Yeah, I keep a gallon at home.
That's right.
Of course.
Absolutely non-negotiable with the sweet tea. A copy of so this is a double, but I'm gonna cheat here. A copy of Elden Ring and then also a PS5 controller, right? Like, come on, has to come with that because the guy stays on Elden Ring.
Oh, 100%. I'm still playing it.
So I was going to say a deluxe edition, big ass lifted truck, but it might be a little too intense. So I'm gonna less intense, but actually more intense. It's got to come with a shoddy. We know our guy Dean loves the loves the shoddy. So is the one that you have the one that you got recently? Is it a vintage shotgun as well?
No, it's like a relatively new one.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's definitely my 3 right there.
Cram says collecting weekly stickers. The Ox PD. Big Ol' Fern says Dean's would come with the Texas flag, his revolver, and his dog.
Hey, and
There
my
you
dog.
go.
That's what I was
Eddie,
gonna say for Marco. Was
How did I? Yeah, I wanted to say Kevin, but once once Zach said pancake, I didn't want to duplicate.
There you go. Smart. Yeah. So just an easy. I mean, kind of a not a huge panel today. So,
bro, for a half second, instead of pancake, I was gonna call her popcorn. And I was like, that's not it.
I actually love that. If we ever get another dog, we're definitely naming it popcorn.
I thought we were naming them waffles.
Waffles as well.
There you go.
I guess we got to get 2 more now. Yeah.
Oh God, bless your dog food budget. Let's get back into it. So, Super Mario Brothers, our movie of the week. In fact, I don't even have a summary, so let me pull this up so I can give you the official summary from Wiki. Mario Bros. Live action.
This is the real reason John's not here, is he was so horrified by watching this film.
No, that's definitely not it. Let's see, 1993. Brooklyn plumbers Mario and Luigi get the shock of their lives when they discover a parallel world populated by the intelligent descendants of dinosaurs. It seems they weren't destroyed by a meteor millions of years ago, but hurled into another dimension, and now they have plans to rule our world. It's up to our unlikely heroes to battle the evil King Koopa and his Goomba guards, free the beautiful Princess Daisy, and save mankind in this adventure of a lifetime. I first saw this movie in 2009, and we had visited my cousin in Florida, and we took a flight, but it was like much cheaper to like land somewhere else and then drive to where he lives. So it was a really long day, and we were exhausted. And I remember we got to his house, and he's like a contractor. He goes to the Middle East a lot, and he has like almost like a binder full of DVDs, and he just takes it wherever. And he has like hard drives and stuff like that with different movies. But when you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's not great internet. Like, it's kind of what you do. And so we're thumbing through it, and we found this, and I was like, I literally did not know this was a movie.
I'm shocked you didn't see this growing up.
No, I didn't.
It's wild.
And I remember watching it like half awake and being like, what the fuck am I watching? And I fell asleep watching it, and it was so intriguing and so like out there that I was like, okay, like I need to watch this again. So I watched it again the next day. And it's like, no, that's exactly what I remembered happening. This movie is just that weird and just
it's a
that
fever
out there.
dream of a film.
Marco, it really is. And honestly, it's bad. But in its badness, I feel like it's one of those things, Dean, we always talk about like movie of the week. The initial like goal was like cult movies, right? Movies that, might not be the best films of all time, but over time they've developed, like a little bit of a following. And I feel like this movie is the perfect example of that because, with all its production problems and all the different problems during the film's creation, I think a lot of people really enjoy this film for one reason or another. And honestly, it's charming. There's horrifying things in this film. The reptilian, the little tiny
Koopa
heads,
things, yeah.
The Yoshi, the just to be honest, everything. But it's not without its charm, right? Like, this is like a movie, you have a beer, turn your brain off, and just kind of roast it, right? And it's just fun. Like, Yoshi's a velociraptor, like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just fun. It's not fun like in a good fun. It's like bad fun. It's hard to explain. Yeah. I wouldn't watch this movie too often, but it has some charm to it, as the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. I think the saving grace for this movie, if there is one, is Bob Hoskins. One of the greatest actors ever. He's so amazing. I could take or leave John Leguizamo, if I'm being honest. He's kind of annoying.
Plays an absolute idiot in the film.
Yeah. Poor Luigi. I mean, Luigi's arguably the best character out of the whole fucking Mario franchise. So, yeah, this movie is, I think Zach, I think you just said Fever Dream is the best way to describe it. Also, why is everything like wet in this film? Like everything is just like gooey and slimy. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
You're describing Ben Thomas's time in Las Vegas, but anyway.
in Vegas. In Vegas.
Vegas.
Okay,
yeah.
time out. He texted us last night at like 3 a.m. my time, and he's like, y'all gotta download Chat GPT. And he sent me like this story about how I found some toy and like gave it to some kid. I'm like, motherfucker, you're in Vegas. It's 1 a.m. You should be knocking walls back, like throwing it out like freaky style, not texting me some Chat GPT story about I found some kid a Batman
Dude,
figure.
he is like the most wholesome individual.
I was like, Ben,
I'm
I love
pretty
you
sure
so much.
Him and Shauna go back to their room at like 9 p.m. to like do Bible study before they go to bed. Like,
And this,
they're
we're
so
saying this in the
sweethearts.
nicest way possible. I don't
Yeah,
want Ben
of
to take it
course.
the wrong way.
I love
But-
Ben. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's a good kid. He's a good. It just shocked me. I was like, Ben, you're in Vegas. It's 1 a.m. and you're texting me this. Like, bro,
It
how
was a
the
funny
fuck?
thing to wake up to for sure.
Ben is a better person than this is a movie.
Oh, that's not saying much. Ben is
Yeah,
a much better person than this.
If I never saw this movie again, I would be happy. It's fucking weird. Like, if you called this movie anything else, it'd be fine. But the fact that you attached it to Mario is like, what? What are you talking about? So, yeah, it's a thing. If you haven't seen this movie, I honestly don't recommend watching it. But you know, it is what it is.
Bro, so seeing this as a kid, like I thought this was good. I legitimately thought it was good. I would say along with the Spawn film, I was like, it was badass. Like this movie's great.
Oh
Like,
my god.
Like legitimately. I think I don't think I've revisited it since I was a kid.
know what my movie of the week is now.
Yeah. Oh gosh. All right. So it kind of has that like Three Ninjas vibe where it's just so corny and the characters are just odd and like are the bad guys acting really funny, like just off center ways. Watching this though, yeah, Fever Dream is the only way that I could describe it because it's like, how in any way is this Mario minus them, borrowing
Like
some
one
character?
pipe?
Yeah, that's right. They made it feels like it was made by Chat GPT, honestly. Like make a Mario Brothers film, and this is what they came up with. Incredibly bizarre. I don't think it's not. If you haven't seen it though, I think it's definitely worth just almost like The Room, right? It's just so bad and interesting that it's entertaining in a lot of respects, but you just keep watching it like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, why did they make all these choices? But really cool designs overall, I'd say, and like interesting concept, but execution just, yeah, it's baffling. But really glad that we ended up revisiting this because I can confirm it's not good. It's it exists and it's just a weird footnote in history.
Footnote. It's a footnote
in Vegas. And
Jesus Christ.
glad that they're making a proper Mario film, even though I've seen the ratings kind of mixed on that.
Really?
Yeah,
I've heard nothing but good things. About that.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. Like I said, this movie, if you had called this anything else, like Plumber Time Warp or Dino Extravaganza, like it would have been like, oh, okay, like this is weird, but whatever. But the fact that you call it Mario's, I think
Marius.
maybe actually
The fact that you call it Marius.
yeah, maybe it actually that saves the movie and does put it in the cult classic.
Maybe
because if it wasn't called Mario's, then people might just write it off. So I don't know.
And even the cover image
blessing
here,
and a
like
curse.
yeah, and even the cover image here, like perfectly represents what they did with this film. Like, let's take all of the fun, like quirky aspects and like make it like as modern and like 90s as we can. And so the fact that they've just made this metal with an M that like doesn't resemble the games at all, just weird.
Yeah, and it's like, let's put him in mag boots. Remember how Mario is famous for mag boots?
That's right.
You guys remember
Mario's
that?
famous for his red overalls, or red shirt and blue overalls, and his brother's famous for the opposite in green. It's like,
let's
what?
put them both in.
So awful. It's just not, like I said, it's just not good. As much as you want to be like, no, it's charming. It's not. It's just so bad.
Oh my God.
Oh man, so I mean, I guess I don't know. Do we want well, actually, Dean, it's your pick, right? I picked this one. So what do you want to do?
Man, Marco said the Spawn movie, and that got me thinking.
I think we've done that recently, right?
I don't think we've ever done this.
Or maybe we did Blade. I'm thinking Blade.
Yeah.
I feel like we've done Spawn. We have to check the tapes.
Yeah.
I'm down to do it again, though. I know that's the big thing. I'm always like picking movies that we've already done.
Yeah, I'll post it in the group. What we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited.
But, yeah.
You know what else I'm excited for, Dean? These sweet angels, the Patreonies.
The Patreonies, the 3 pillars. Give a quick shout out to Ian CB, Renee Mendez, Eric Mariscal, Quinn Aguirre, King Louis, Mark Pearson, Paul Schreiber, Equan, Chris Val, Serena, Ben Thomas, Chris Letty, David Jones, Sam Giss, Daminator, Joel Bretta, Thomas Clark, Eric Switzer, Six Guns, Figs, Badfish, Toy Cartel, Sweet Danny Lee, Dee Martin, Stephen Krapp, Big Ol' Fern, Cesar Marquin, Mark Phillips, Lisa Martin Bomonsky, Rick DeGregorio, The Everyday Collector, Ricardo Valdez, Jose CZ, Erwin Azucena. Oh my God, I didn't say CZ. My bad, guys. The Illustrious Rainer, Alan Morgan, Tukothri Wad, Derek B., Arias Portillo, Mark Randolph, Alvin J., Jazz Carroll, Joe Ridley, Pablo Meza, D-Rock, Matt Clevenger, Seth Tucker, C3PO, Scott Smith, Don Mathal, Jimmy James, Stephen Purchase, Sean Usby, Scott Bradley, Steve and Maria Stanley, Eddie Mazanares, Louis Bennett, Chip Parent, Jimmy Hernandez, Gigi the Judgmental, and Brenton Palmer. Yeah, last week you did it too early, so I was like, I'm going to fucking make him wait.
How fucking dare you? Let me, whoa, what the hell?
Whoa!
Can you zoom in a bit more, too?
Wow.
You really can.
Pressing this button here. I really can, actually. Our March Patreon benefits are the Papa Ox stickers, and the April is the OFAC celebration sticker. Now, Ian sent me a package with a bunch of stickers that would be the April benefits. I would say if they're not in my hand by this Saturday, and I'm not saying that to like against Ian or anything, but if the post runs a bit slow, we may substitute the April benefit for the Brenton's question of the week sticker. So be a little flexible with us on that. We eventually everyone will get their OFAC celebration sticker, but I know that they had shipped them already before celebration, but it just depends on when they get here. So bear with us on that. The Patreon benefits $5 for the digital tier. You get Ox After Dark, the Patreon chat, the weekly shout out, $7.50 for stickers. $15 is the Figure Fix Assistance and the Certified Crispy certificate. And the What a Guy is the doubles of all the stickers we send and the Pog Deluxe set. Be sure to click that link in the bio if you want to join Patreon. You can also join our YouTube channel membership. We have memberships starting at 99 cents. If you're a Patreon member, or $2.99 if you're in the Peanut Gallery. Here we go. Alvin J says, is it possible in a future episode you let the chat choose the movie of the week, giving us multiple choices to choose from? Just a thought.
I feel like we've done that before.
Yeah, I'm down.
I think around Christmas time we may have given the audience some choices. But yeah, I think that was received.
I'll tell you what, Alvin, do me a favor. If you're on, I think you're on Facebook, put a post up in Auxiliary and get, if you can, I'll pin it. And we'll have you guys submit some choices. Worst case, I can do this. And then we'll narrow it down to 4, and we'll let you guys pick. I think that's a great idea. So Alvin, great idea. We will do that 100%. Oh, he doesn't have Facebook. Okay, so I'll work on that. But yes, Alvin, just comment what you want, like what your choice would be, and we'll add that to the list. We have great channel members now. A lot of the channel members, we had this really amazing thing that happened where a lot of people were gifting channel memberships. And yeah, Alvin, let me know what your movie choice would be so I can put that in the poll. A lot of people were donating channel memberships, which was crazy. I didn't quite understand what was going on, but we just got random, a shitload of members. I understand that now, and it's even cooler. So shout out to Mojo Z78, Absolute Irwin, LV Avenger 702, OMFG Rick, S-Beam, Andres IB, Daminator, Sam Giss, Thomas Clark, Benjamin Hansen, Chris V, Big Ol' Fern, Cram, Alvin J, OG Fan, Mark Pearson, Ben Thomas, Paul Schreiber, Andrew Gibo, CC3PO, Carlito, CT603, Eddie Money Mendez, B-Chan, Fat Batman, Justin Sports Card Museum, Philip the Fool, Kiki Spinkter, Universal Key, Eclectic Collector, Tukatri, Single Songwriter, Jake, Zeke, Equan, John the Everyday Collector, DJ, Toy Cartel, KJ Smith, Adrian Aguirre, Knight, Slifer, Baby Boy 562, Steph V, Mike Oxlong, Just Another Friday Night, and we also had Blue Beetle join the membership, so thank you for that. Alvin's Choice is Natural Born Killers. I'm not familiar with that movie, but I will add it to the list. We have the network here. Collectors Club is on Friday, After Dark Wednesday. Thursday, we're double stacking with the special OFAC episode for Celebration. Like I said, Ian, Pete, and Shane from 16 Figure Focus will be on to recap their experience Saturday at Celebration. Small Talk this Thursday at 8:30. Live and Let Dice is returning May... Let's see, here it is. May 13th, so mark that on your calendars if you're interested in D&D. The reissue, Marco, we got to figure that out. I know it's been kind of crazy with Ben's vacation and just a bunch of other stuff, but we got to get on that for April.
Absolutely.
Question of the week every Sunday. I think Pose Wars, honestly, I think it's tabled for now, so unfortunately, it's one of those things. The viewership was down. We just have to prioritize shows like Ox PD and Red Dead Redemption, which a lot of people really do enjoy. It's just one of those things that happens, unfortunately. Bricks and Brews will be later this month. These kind of change. We'll work shows in and out as we can. So, just bear with us. Promise we're doing our best to get you guys all the content that you like. TeePublic, it's actually on sale right now, so now's a good time to buy if you want to buy a shirt. If there's a shirt that's not on the TeePublic that you want, let us know. We'll be happy to get you sorted there and get that uploaded. Socials, we have Facebook, Collecting Weekly Auxiliary, Instagram at Collecting Weekly @CollectingWeekly_clips, and at The Everyday Collector on Instagram. And a little bit of a short show today, about 20 minutes off the clock. Not too bad, but Marco, have you decided when you're doing your 1,000 subscribers stream extravaganza?
Yeah, we wanted to do it last weekend. We snuck in a quick little episode of the She Said No podcast, like really impromptu. I will be gone next week, this weekend, going to a bachelor party. So we're hoping to do it sometime in the next few weeks, but we will make announcements on the social media. I'll make sure to plug it in the Ox Facebook group as well. So hopefully here very soon. But yeah, things have been a bit crazy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but appreciate all the support, and we made that milestone, which is awesome.
Yeah, Pablo, we actually have pretty much all the work done for the episode. Ben put a lot of work into the Dark Knight deep dive. It's just been a weird month with the holidays and vacation stuff, family stuff. So promise reissues coming back this month. We'll be recording an episode, and our apologies for that. But Ben, like I said, spent hours working on this really great Dark Knight recap.
He really went all in. Honestly, it's going to be a very in-depth show.
Yeah. Gigi says no fun over at our channel. Shout out to Vintage Rebellion, Ian and Pete, Shane from 16 Figure Focus. They held down the fort for the YouTube people that we stream with. So real great to see that they had a good weekend. Big shout out to everyone that was making sure that our members got their codes for the Darth Vader, all kinds of different things that people did to get that. Shout out to those that purchased from Zach's Wonderland. I shipped out my first 9 orders this past week. Marco, I actually have, this is a very early work in progress, but your stone base, working on that.
So, that is sexy, looking good.
I think Dean, I actually have your stuff and Rainer's stuff for when we meet up. We're working on the Bo-Katan shields, the heavy Mando like the little blue glowy shields that they have. So business is not booming, but it's a nice little side thing. So I appreciate you guys that ordered from us thus far. And if you want to check us out on Instagram, it's Zach's ZACKS_Wonderland. In fact, I will link the Instagram here. So, Cram, you can message me on Facebook to get added into the chat. Or if you don't use Facebook, you can follow me on Instagram. And if you don't have Instagram, you can email me at zack@collectingweekly.com, and I'll be able to get to you there. If you don't have email, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so there's that. I think Bob Dylan got his package today too, so that's very cool. Nice. Badfish said that Stone Base is being painted much faster than Danny's project. Okay, first off,
I forgot about
unrelated, Dean, but how do we ban someone from the chat? Can you? Get him out of here. Yeah, okay, that is my most embarrassing thing. It was a combination of artist block, I was moving, and I had carpal tunnel. So I'm sorry that Danny was suffered such.
Maybe at the next
my greatest shame in life. No, he has it already. He picked up at the last Oxcon.
Oh, that's right. All right.
Actually, he was being a baby. He wanted me to mail it, so I had to mail it. I was like, you're here. Just take it with you.
Didn't it arrive broken, too?
And it arrived broken! I was like, you could have just taken this.
Oh, man. He had a lump on his head. He wasn't thinking right.
He got conked on the noggin. I'm so excited for OxCon 2.
Oh my gosh.
We got the logo and everything. It's going to be dope. I can't wait. But yeah, Cram, I know I think I missed your comment last week, but yeah, if you want to get in on that chat, like I said, Facebook, Instagram, or email is the best way to reach me. And you can be the proud owner of a Zach's Wonderland product in your collection. But yeah, shout out everyone for showing up tonight. Short show, lots of places you could be watching on Tuesday nights. I appreciate you coming here. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Do you guys have any shout outs you want to give or anything you want to add before we cut this one off?
Nothing on my end.
No, just keep doing you out there.
Yeah, keep on keeping on. It's a crazy world.
Yeah. You made it through the weekend. You're starting off a new week. I guess when you listen to this, you'll be midweek. Keep on chugging. You got it.
Wow, words of affirmation. I love it.
Yeah, you're doing good. And I'm proud of you.
Wow, that was beautiful.
And your pee-pee's big.
Yeah.
Wow, well, one could be so lucky, but...
it's a nice, adequate pee-pee.
More than enough for anyone.
There you go. Anyways, I'm Zach.
I'm Dean.
And I'm Marco.
Sorry, I forgot. We'll catch you on the next episode. I was like, we really just said that. Oh, man. Dean, give me a bye.
Bye.